You think your life is hard. You complain when the Wi-Fi cuts out. You rage when your coffee order has the wrong milk. But back in the Middle Ages, they didn't have milk, or Wi-Fi, or coffee, or rights. They had soup made of weeds, bread with rocks in it, beer for children because water would kill them. People died from a bad cut, from sneezing near the wrong person. Toilet a bucket under your bed. Shower. Try once a season if you're lucky. Still think you'd last a day, because medieval life wasn't a challenge. It was a death trap, and your reward for surviving, more surviving. So before you say I was born in the wrong era, let's take a little tour. No filters, no fantasy, just raw medieval misery served cold. Food. Forget the movie feast, giant turkey legs, golden bread, flowing wine. That was royal propaganda. For 90% of people, dinner was pottage, a sad gray sludge of boiled weed scraps, and maybe a bug or two if you were lucky. Bread, not the fluffy kind. It was dark, dense, and full of stone grit from grinding wheels. Every bite shaved your teeth, and sometimes it poisoned you. Enter ergot fungus. It grew on rye, and it didn't just taste bad, it made you hallucinate, convulse, and sometimes die. Whole villages thought witches were real because they were high on their own bread. Meat, a rare luxury, usually half-rotten, spiced to hide the stench. Water undrinkable, full of human waste. So yes, children drank beer, 8 pints a day starting at age 5. Not to party, to survive. Sanitation. Toilets. Try a wooden bowl under the bed. That was your bathroom. And when it filled up, you dumped it out of the window. Right onto the street. With a quick shout, Gardy Lou translation, heads up, poop incoming. The streets weren't dirty. They were the toilet. Cities reeked of human waste. Rivers were brown soup. And if you lived near a castle, your king pooped into a hole in the wall. It dropped 70 feet straight down. Royal turds free-falling. To clean yourself, leaves moss your hand, pick your poison. Toilet paper didn't exist. Public toilets, almost none. Enter the gong farmer. He worked only at night collecting cesspit sludge. His smell was so bad he was banned from markets and churches. But he made 4 times more than a regular worker because no one else wanted to be the medieval poop guy. Labor. Hustle culture. Try medieval labor. No weekends. No labor laws. No work-life balance. If you were a peasant, you worked from sunrise to collapse every single day. Digging, planting, harvesting. All by hand. Your tools. Wood rope and prayer. Burning 4,000 calories a day just to survive. Gym memberships. You got ripped hauling manure and pushing plows. Too weak to farm. Congrats, you get the toxic jobs, tanners soaked hides in urine. Blacksmiths inhaled smoke and molten metal. Children became apprentices at age 7. Worked 6 days a week for 14 years. Retirement plan, death. Job advice in 1350 went like this. Can you lift something heavy? Yes, farmer. No early grave. Even the lowest jobs like collecting dog poop for tanneries barely paid enough to eat. In the Middle Ages, working wasn't about success. It was about not dying today. Medicine. Sick in medieval times. Good luck, because medicine back then was just creative ways to die faster. Cough. Let's drain your blood into a bowl. Fever. Apply 70 leeches to your chest. They didn't know about germs. They believed sickness came from bad air or angry blood. Toothache. No painkillers, just pliers and screaming. You didn't visit the doctor, you avoided him, because his cure might kill you before the illness did. Mercury was prescribed for everything, including syphilis, side effects, organ failure, madness, death. Even the surviving treatments were filthy. No gloves, no soap, no clue. Their idea of hygiene, wiping hands on already dirty clothes. If you made it to 40, you were basically immortal. So yeah, got a cold in 1350, start digging your own grave. Justice. Justice, not really. Laws changed every few miles. What was legal in one village could get you hanged in the next. No police, no lawyers, no rights. Just you, a wooden stick, and God's judgment. Steal bread, lose a hand, cut a tree, in the king's forest, death. Over 200 crimes had the death penalty, including catching the wrong fish. Trials were games of pain. Trial by fire, carry a hot iron bar. If it healed clean in 3 days, you were innocent. If not, execution. Trial by water. If you float, you're guilty. If you sink, you drown. But hey, innocent. Torture wasn't punishment, it was investigation. Confess, or we'll stretch you on the rack. Scream loud enough, maybe they'll stop. Rich people paid to avoid justice. Poor people paid with blood. Fair. Only if you think a red-hot iron bar makes a good lie detector. Warfare. Forget the movies. Medieval war wasn't glory, it was horror. Knights in shining armor, most couldn't afford it. A full suit cost as much as a sports car. Peasants wore padded cloth and prayed. Swords, too expensive. Most fought with sharpened farm tools. Pitchforks, axes, shovels. The longbow was the real killer, pulled by deformed arms from training since childhood. One battle, 28,000 dead in a single day. Many froze to death before even fighting. Sieges, starvation, disease, cannibalism. During the siege of Paris, people ate rats, then each other. And between battles, armies looted villages, stole crops, burned homes. Civilians weren't spared, especially not women and children. Half the soldiers died from infection before ever seeing an enemy. Medieval medics, their plan was rub dirt on it. Die. Still romanticizing chivalry. Try surviving it. Hygiene. Cleanliness. Not in the Middle Ages. Most people bathed 2, maybe 3 times a year. Spring and end of summer if they didn't think bathing caused disease. Yes, they believed water opened your pores to evil air. Winter, no baths. Just layers of filth. Head lice were part of the outfit. Special combs existed just to scrape them out. That was considered normal hygiene. Clothes never really washed. You wore them until they disintegrated. Undergarments, rough linen that scratched. Outerwear, heavy wool that never stopped itching. Shoes were thin leather, no soles, no grip, no warmth. And the smell, unbelievable. People carried herb pouches under their noses to survive city stench. Not for fashion, for survival. So next time you complain about a broken shower, try 4 months of medieval funk. No soap, no shampoo, just dirt sweat and bugs. Society, social mobility, not in the Middle Ages. You were born a peasant, you died a peasant. No climbing the ladder, there wasn't even a ladder. 90% of people owned nothing. They worked land they didn't control, paid taxes to nobles they never saw. Privacy, one room for the whole family, eating, sleeping, everything. Beds were shared, sometimes with strangers. Even nobles had servants standing by while they used the chamber pot. Entertainment, public executions, bear baiting, maybe a bard if one wandered into town. Science, nah, magic, demons, and astrology explained everything. Sick must be evil spirits. Eclipse, the world is ending. News walked from village to village. Took days if it got there at all. So next time you romanticize simpler times, remember they weren't simple. They were brutal, rigid, paranoid, and smelled awful. Conclusion. Still wish you lived in the past. Still dreaming of castles, knights, and simpler times. Let's recap. You ate poison bread, drank beer at 5, lived in filth, shared a bed with lice and strangers, and died because someone thought leeches could fix pneumonia. Toilet A, hole in the floor. Medicine, mercury. Justice, iron bars, and divine guessing games. And war, just starvation with extra stabbing. Sure, modern life has problems. But when your biggest crisis is your phone dying, maybe say thank you. Because no matter how bad today feels, you're not dodging poop from third-floor windows. You're not eating soup made of weeds and fungus. And you're not depending on moon phases to survive childbirth. So, no, you wouldn't last a day in the Middle Ages. And that's not a weakness. That's progress.